Welcome to Out of the Box from Hudson County Community College. In these podcasts, we bring you timely discussions about education, people, programs, events, issues, and solutions that affect the education and enrichment of the people of Hudson County. I'm Chris Reber, president of Hudson County Community College and your podcast host. We're here today to discuss a program that we are particularly proud of. In fact, I would describe the program as cutting edge, trend-setting, and it's the Hudson County Community College Eastern Millwork Holz Technik Apprenticeship program. This is a program that has developed through a strong partnership of a really interesting, innovative company and the college. And we've come together to rethink how we can best work together to provide the skill sets that lead to great jobs for our students and our community. So joining me today are Andrew Campbell, who's founder and CEO of Eastern Millwork. Andrew.
Great to be here.
Thanks for coming. And my gifted colleague, Lori Margolin, who is our Associate Vice President for Continuing Education and Workforce Development. Lori.
Hello, Dr. Reber. Pleasure to be here.
And we're especially delighted to welcome an HCCC alumnus, recently graduated, Isaiah Ray Montalvo. Isaiah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Reber.
Isaiah is one of the pioneering students who began in the first cohort of students in this program. So we'll be hearing from him in a few minutes about his experience and how the program has prepared him for his career and for his future goals. And so again, welcome and thank you all for being here and joining us today. I'd like to start, Andrew, with you. I've gotten to know you. We've known each other now since 2019. And I know a number of things about your company. It's pretty impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about Eastern Millwork, which I think has been in business for 30 years here in Jersey City?
Yeah, since 1992. And Jersey City has been our home for most of that, yeah. So our company manufactures architectural woodwork for commercial projects. So we do office space, hospitals, and performing arts centers, theaters. And we supply all the custom-made woodwork. Sometimes it involves metal and glass, stone, but substantially the woodwork that goes into these different facilities.
So your company actually involves a creative element because you're doing really high-end woodwork manufacturing for some major facilities, but also, of course, production, manufacturing, installation, which collectively means you need employees that have kind of a range of skill sets, don't you?
Right. It's for many years now, the emphasis was on importing, of material. Our objective was to find a way that we can automate it, and I've always used the data on a call center call. Right. So a call center call in America is $14. In India, it's $7, and when you automate, it's 50 cents. So the idea is, how do you take something that is custom, one-off, part size one, batch size one, and leverage automation to make these kind of very custom and unique pieces? A lot of that revolves around kind of very technical software and some pretty advanced machinery. But all that has to be driven by some very sophisticated people. So even though we're leveraging this technology, there is ultimately the craft is at the root of what we do. And so our people have to be artisans and technologists, right? And that connection is really the nuance of what is the manufacturing for today and going forward. It's our ability to make what is custom and also in a situation where our proximity to the market matters, because time in these construction projects is very important. And the construction project itself can be very kinetic and changing. So our ability to adapt our proximity makes us valuable. But it's the technology and our ability to automate the process to drive up the product count per hours of work makes us economically relevant, and I think that's what's unique about Eastern Millwork.
And let's put this into context. Share with us some of the companies you have designed woodworking and millwork for.
We've gone across many industries. We work in the airlines, JetBlue. We've worked for many terminals. We work for United, Continental. We've worked for a lot of different corporate companies, American Express, Goldman Sachs. We've worked at a lot of hospital institutions, Sloan Kettering, New York University Hospital. We've worked for a lot of institutes like universities. We worked for New York University. We've worked for Princeton University. And so we have a very broad spectrum of clients and projects.
Lincoln Center, Madison Square Garden. I mean, some really noteworthy facilities. I know just across the river at Goldman Sachs, there's an auditorium that some of our students use for a really innovative program that we have with Goldman Sachs to prepare students for the financial industry. And the auditorium is exquisite. The woodwork, the molding, you're just in awe. That's your work.
Yep.
So we're talking about major projects, sophisticated projects that require really incredible creativity and also pretty much manufacturing genius.
Where we really excel is when there's complex geometry. And as you said, the creative part for us is not so much in the design. The architects come up with the aesthetic they want. What we have to do is figure out how to execute it. And so oftentimes we have to kind of think completely differently. And I like that because I don't ever want to show up to a fight and fight fairly. I want to come with a different idea that no one's thinking about, where I'm going to bring more value, and that's going to be better for the client and better for our company. A lot of what we've been able to do is in that space of these complex projects. I'll give you a quick example. There was a project for an LG's headquarters up in northern New Jersey. We were not the actual architectural woodworker on the project, but there was a Swiss-made panel system that was cladding these walls, and they were, I think, 3 stories tall. And the price from the Lintner company was $7 million. They called us up and they said, LG doesn't have that budget. What can you do? So we came up with a way to fabricate it in large components. We used a specialized mini crane to lift them in place in this interior space. And we were able to reduce the cost from $7 million to $2 million, saving the client $5 million. And that's a pretty dramatic example of how we can rethink something and bring value.
So this is a great segue into how you approached Hudson County Community College and how our partnership began. Can you tell that story? How did we get involved?
As I was kind of on this journey to figure out how do I automate what it is we did. And I started out in a very conventional way of manufacturing. The woodworking and furniture, sort of the hub of that is Central Europe. So I was traveling through Germany and Austria, and I was speaking with young people that were involved in the manufacturing of the machines that I needed and in shops that did what I did, in their market. And it was interesting because they had they understood the craft. They were craftspeople, but they also had a layer of science that was kind of embedded into that. And I came to understand the German model of education, where you embed industry. So what would be loosely considered their chamber of commerce, that they called Hakazen. That's very much involved with the education. And so the students work and study together. And you're able to get a very technically specific skill set, and I feel in a much more economically advantageous way. So fast forward, one of our suppliers of hardware is an Austrian company. And they had a program. They came from Austria to Charlotte, North Carolina to manufacture some of their products. And when they came here, they couldn't find precision machinists and mechatronic engineers. And so they created a program similar to ours. And that really became the basis of our program, where they hired young people right out of high school. They went to community college one day a week, and they apprenticed in the factory and ultimately graduated and had a job and were being paid through this time. Our need was a little bit almost sort of, I call it gray collar, right? So there was a little bit stronger need for an engineering layer to what we needed our people to do. And at the same time, I'm faced with what is the generation of worker that is, I'm told, that will look to move companies every 3 to 5 years. So the issue I have is that you won't master what we do in that period of time. So it's impossible for me to work with that sort of transient workforce. We have people with us north of 20 years, and they have a knowledge that's been gained from all these projects that we utilized for projects people bring us today. And the other issue that I had was that young people would come to me with engineering degrees, but they were not relevant to us. And so they had paid a lot of money and had an expectation of salary, but the value that they delivered to us was not there with this education they had. So the idea was, how do you come up with this sort of German model that's more precise, and how do you change the process of the education so that it becomes economically more efficient? And that was sort of the impetus. When we started this, it was difficult. We were working on it for several years before we met Lori. And when you came here when you came to Hudson Community College, it really was like a new start. And when Lori got involved, I remember our first meeting, I was a little bit cynical about the ability to execute it. But with your leadership and her hard work, you guys put it together.
So you had this vision informed by the German Holz Technik model of actually recruiting a workforce that would on day one be employees of your company while you're partnering with education to train them specifically around the skill sets you need in your company.
We need the best and the brightest to do what we do. So there's got to be value on both sides. The parents want to have that educational degree, right? And that was a component of it. What we did was we kind of leveraged that. So yeah, when you come to work for us in this program, you're paid a salary. You get the same health care I have. There's no matching contribution. We pay 100% of that. You have the same sick and vacation time, that I have. And that's because you're a professional, and we're investing in you, and we need you to invest in us. And that's sort of this symbiotic relationship that we're trying to develop.
This is a pretty good opportunity for the right person because you are hiring them, you're paying them a salary and benefits. You're also funding all of their education that actually is leading to really marketable skills. But this isn't the way higher education normally works, right? We develop a curriculum and we tell you what your students are going to experience. So, Lori, let's move to you. So, Andrew had the opportunity to meet you, and I often share that Lori, in her work at Hudson County Community College, she's really sort of the entrepreneurial engine of the college. In her area of workforce development, continuing education, we're doing all kinds of new things, things that are kind of counter to the traditional model of education and that really are focused on the needs of the client and the needs of the student. So, Lori, tell us a little bit about your early conversations with Andrew and how this program developed.
So it was great. Andrew and I met at a meeting and we talked about the apprenticeship model. He shared what he just spoke about here. And we set up time to meet, and I said, this sounds like a great opportunity for our students. We need to find a way to make this work. and we talked about what it would look like, and we actually developed an advanced manufacturing major as a result of those conversations and this program. So it was really a great way to start the partnership. And as you've said, apprenticeship is not the same as internship. The students are hired, they're employees right from the beginning of the program. We went through all the details and we worked hand in hand on this. And I think that's one of the features that makes this program a success, that we listened to one another, that we were able to meet the educational needs and objectives that we have, and at the same time, able to meet the workforce needs of Eastern Millwork through the Holz Technik program. And we actually, I think, had our first conversation in June of 2018, and by January of 2019, we had a program in place. And we began recruiting students from local Hudson County high schools.
So tell us just a little bit about how the program works, and then I want to turn to Isaiah and talk about his experience.
The employees, they come here to school, either here in person. At the beginning, it was all in person, and later we've developed more of a hybrid model. So they spend 2, 3, or 4 days at work and 1 or 2 days at school with their classes. And it's really as simple as that. So they're doing both. They're getting ahead in their career. They're using what they learn in the classroom on the job. And that's one of the features of an apprenticeship as well that makes it such a robust model that you actually are applying what you're learning in real time.
So the students are, on day one, employees of Eastern Millwork, and so their weekly schedules integrated between work they're actually doing in the company and instruction that is specific to the needs of Eastern Millwork and this new degree that we developed as a result of that. And in, about 3 years, students are able to complete our associate degree?
That's right.
And at that point, I know, Andrew, as employees/students in this program meet certain milestones, their salaries are continuing to rise.
Correct.
So that at the end point, when they finish our associate degree, I think in 3 or 4 years, they're at a $70,000 salary level?
Near about, yep.
But it doesn't stop there, because you've also brought into our partnership Thomas Edison State University, which has really a national reputation for distance online technology and learning. And the students then can continue on with our associate degree that's very specific to woodworking and earn their bachelor's degree from Thomas Edison completely online. And so the first cohort of this program started in 2019.
That's right. And just another point about that, working with Thomas Edison, when students graduate from here, they go on to Thomas Edison, it's a seamless transition. They don't lose any time or any credits. It flows from one to the other. And I think that's what goes to being kind of economical for everybody involved.
So Thomas Edison's accepting all of our credits.
That's right.
We're not adding credits or duplicating coursework and adding time and money to this. It's very seamless, and students can continue on. And with a bachelor's degree and that added instruction, their skill set continues to broaden.
What we're trying to do, and I think is often lost on traditional paths for education, is having it be worth the cost of capital, right? It's having it make sense economically, the outcomes you receive versus what the costs were.
And so how did we recruit the first cohort that began this program in 2019?
So we reached out to the local Hudson County high schools. We reached out in a number of ways through guidance counselors, through their career and technical education program, through superintendents. And there was an application that any student who was interested would fill out. And then there was a multi-step screening process. So they would come to Eastern Millwork, they'd get a tour, they'd understand what it's all about, because it's really important to have that right fit, because Eastern Millwork is investing in these students, and the students are investing their time in this program. So it's really important that they both understand what it is, and parents as well, so that everybody is on board. And then there's an interview process, and also kind of a pre-employment work, a day or two on the job to really see what it's like, and to come here to campus, because that's part of it, to do a pre-orientation. And that's how we
So for
recruited.
partnerships to work, they really have to be win-win, right?
That's right.
Each partner organization has to benefit from the partnership. But the partnership extends to the students, perhaps first and foremost. So it has to be a program that meets the needs of students and helps advance their career trajectory and their goals. So I'm remembering vividly that when the first cohort of four apprentices was selected in 2019, we had a really wonderful celebration at Eastern Millwork, attended by Governor Murphy and other leaders in the community and the state. I am remembering from Germany as well.
Yep, the German ambassador came, yeah.
And in fact, Governor Murphy has said that the Holz Technik program, and I'm quoting him, is the blueprint for New Jersey's economic future. So, what a great segue to Isaiah. And Isaiah, thank you for your patience. I wanted to make sure our listeners had a full understanding of the program that you were really a pioneering first apprentice for. Tell us about your experience in this program.
Certainly. As stated previously, I started in 2019, and coming into it, I never had any real experience woodworking. The main kind of experience that I had that related to the job was that I was partially familiar with 3D modeling. So for the first couple of weeks or so, me and my fellow apprentices, we actually went down to high-tech high school. And there we participated in a course doing woodworking, and that taught us the basics and fundamentals of how to use some of the machinery, how wood functions as a material, and it was a very good first stepping stone to introduce myself to that world of woodworking. From that point on, we had started working with Eastern Millwork, and at the same time starting our beginner courses at Hudson County. We started off, doing very minimal work upstairs, because we didn't have the know-how just yet to get down and dirty on the computers. And then from there, we went downstairs to the wood shop. And during our time there at the wood shop, we were there for a handful of months, we were able to get very familiar with the much larger scale machinery. And that was something that we also focused in on we had classes at the job that we would personally, we would woodwork with those machines. And we were able to familiarize ourselves with the environment as a whole. From then on, we continued with Hudson County Community during the next 3 years, and at the same time working at Eastern Millwork. We cycled through many different job positions through there. I personally have done engineering, working downstairs in the shop with the machines, doing case assembly, and estimating. So we were able to get an all-encompassing view of how these operations come to fruition. And from combining that with the knowledge that we gained through Hudson County Community College, we are fairly well-rounded in our current positions.
So I got to shake your hand at commencement this past May of 2022 at Red Bull Arena as you graduated with your associate degree in advanced manufacturing with a concentration in woodworking. And And now you're enrolled in the bachelor's degree program at Thomas Edison.
Yes.
How is that going?
That's going well. Thomas Edison is, as stated before, it is a little different from how they HCC runs, as it is all online. And that comes with its pros and cons, of course. But for the most part, it's, as you said, it's a seamless transition from working with Hudson County to working with Thomas Edison. You know, as soon as we graduated with the associate's degree, you know, we took a small break where we were just working all 5 days a week at Eastern Millwork, and then we went right back into it with Thomas Edison University.
And how many courses are you taking at any given time?
Typically, it's 2. On occasion, we have done 3 and 1, but for the most part, throughout the entire program, it's 2 classes.
And Isaiah, you're from Jersey City.
Yes.
You're a resident of Jersey City, and you were a youth councilman for the Jersey City Youth Council. You also graduated from Lincoln High School, but that was, I think, from 2016 to 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
So the Jersey City Youth Council was it was set up by the city, and it was a program that focused on what we called restorative justice, and that was essentially when a student got themselves into trouble, whether that be mild legally or major in school, we would take them in and we would work through what exactly caused them to act this way. You know, what are the underlying factors, and not to mention what are the factors that, not to mention what harm that it could have brought to the community as a whole. And we really focus on that community aspect. And then the restorative justice part comes in, where instead of saying, oh, well, you get suspended or you get a fine, we instead take them and we try to undo the damage that they've done to their community and reintegrate them back into their community. And I've been lucky enough to see firsthand the change that we've had with some of our clients, so to speak. Showing them the harm that they do to their community, and then in turn having them rebuild and almost putting them a little higher. People would look at them, you know, like community service, and we would participate with them during community service. It made them feel good. It made them feel good, and it made them feel as a part of their community, and they earned a deeper respect for their community.
Oh, congratulations. That is inspirational. Congratulations for your interest and involvement in what is really incredibly important work around restorative justice. You know, providing opportunities for people to learn, sometimes from mistakes, from their experience, and use that for a brighter future. Obviously, you're an involved citizen as well as a talented employee. So what is your current position at Eastern Millwork? What do you do now on a daily basis there?
As of right now, it's engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I will look at drawings given to us by the architect, and I will model them in a 3D software, AutoCAD, and basically try to make what they've drawn on paper function in real life.
And what are your future career goals?
Future career-wise, I intend to stay with Eastern Millwork.
Excellent.
As long as they'll have me.
Obviously, Isaiah is an incredibly talented person and smart person who now has a really, thanks to you and your company and our partnership, a really strong education that I know will position him for continued career growth. I guess one question I would ask is, how do you keep these talented employees long-term? Because I'm sure he could go on someday and earn a 6-7 figure salary.
You know, we don't have an employment agreement with them. He's free to go. You know, he doesn't owe us any money. So, what we have to do is we have to challenge him professionally and provide, an economic, program that is going to be better than he could find elsewhere. And, that's how we build a strong company. Again, it's having a group of people that work together for a long period of time. And that comes through, obviously the work has to be rewarding and the compensation has to be fair.
It's such a wonderful model. I thank all of you. I think, the experience we've had here, I think, has so much relevance for the future of our society, the economy, the idea of coming together and making it possible for students to gain the specific skills needed to really have tremendous career opportunity and advancement opportunity, designing education in a way that starts with the needs of the industry and the students and the company. And in the process, all of us grow and have our missions and our goals supported. So thank you all for being with me today and for being part of this program. Isaiah, best of wishes to you for much continued success. Andrew, thanks for being such a really inspirational partner. Lori, thank you for the cutting edge work you do day in and day out. We have a tradition on this podcast. At the end, I ask each of our guests what word they would use if they were to describe Hudson County Community College in just one word. Lori, what would be your word?
My word would be innovative.
Innovative? Andrew?
Transformative.
Transformative?
Welcoming.
Welcoming. Innovative, transformative, welcoming, and my word is always inspirational. Thank you all for being here, for joining us for this session of Out of the Box. We hope you'll visit our website, hccc.edu, and please share this podcast with your family and friends, and please stay safe and well. Thank you.